Hey everybody, it's Amy Fox with Work in Progress Texas, and I am live in our Couples Do It Together free community with our special guest, Brenda. A little backstory on hanging out with Brenda is her and I connected on social media. And that what I love about social media is the fact that you can come across people who are aligned with you, have similar goals, aspirations. We look to connect with people to help them on their health journey. And then there's some people that are already crushing it and you just make a connection with and have build a little bit of a friendship. And Brenda and I had some great interactions back and forth. And then we started chatting just to kind of get to know each other because she is in Arizona and I obviously am in San Antonio. And as I was talking to her, she was just dropping major, awesome, truth bombs and just great stuff that I knew would be of value for this community. And so, Brenda, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to hang out with us in this Facebook group. And I'm super excited to get started.
Yeah, no problem. I'm super excited too.
Cool. Well, why don't you start with just a little bit of background on you and your family, and, where you're at kind of thing, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes.
Well, just lived in Arizona my whole life. It's my husband, we have 3 kids, all officially grown up and out of the house. So we're celebrating that. Super excited about that milestone, right? Really, typical family, kind of a late bloomers into the fitness industry, I guess you want to say, or health journey. So we're in our 40s and trying to kill it every day.
Yes, I love that. Well, I know that when we were talking initially, because I was kind of like, what are you passionate about? Where do you feel like you want to share or encourage other people? And you definitely had a life coaching background. And so the main theme that we kind of came up with for tonight was patience and how it really bleeds into a lot of things. So I know that you've taken time to prepare as far as talking about patience. And I think it's a great time to talk about it because if we're halfway through 2023, there could be some people who are closer to their goals, some people are taking longer to get their goals, or their patience has gotten thin. So, why don't you dive into why patience is so important in this health and fitness journey?
So I specifically wanted to talk about patience because I hit that very low patience point in our journey. So we are 6 months in to really hitting dedication, going to the gym as much as possible, because prior to it's always been here and there, off and on. We work out to eat, we weren't doing the right things. And so when we really got into it, my husband dropped weight like nobody's business. Okay. And I wasn't losing a pound. And I'm talking about busting my rear, lifting every day, giving it 110%, and I gained 2 pounds.
Oh no. Okay. That's
So
rough. Okay.
yeah, we were eating right, everything like that. So for me, and then it was kind of one of those moments where it's fine. I just need to keep going. And then, you get on social media and you're looking for inspiration and you try to eat better and look at different ways to do things. And then just one thing pops up and it says, if you quit now, you're never going to get close to your goal. And it was like, duh, right? So having the patience, and especially when you're working out with your spouse, your partner, learning all the different things about each other while you're working out, because this is a whole new life, right? So you live in a marriage and you think you know everything about your spouse or even yourself, and you're learning new things, and come to find out that chest day is, I have this much tolerance for it. So these are all the things that we're having to learn, and my husband is super patient with me in those moments. So just kind of like a little funny story. Like I said, chest day is my nemesis. Bench press, I either get angry or I cry. So that's one of the 2 things. One, because I can't get the weight up, or I'm so frustrated and I feel so defeated that I end up crying. And one of these days I just happened to get angry and I got a little snippy, and my husband was like, don't yell at me, I'm sorry. And so him learning and being patient with me, like on the way to the gym, the next chest day, he was like, hey, so how are you feeling today? And I'm like, yeah, everything's good, like fine, like it's a great day. And he goes, it's okay, because it's chest day. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. So it kind of, him just kind of tweaking things and being understanding like how I feel when I do those workouts made the difference on me being conscious about how I was acting. And um like the last two sessions that we've had for chess, I've killed it. Like
Hmm.
I'm just being conscious about it, and I'm adding weight and I'm hitting goals that I didn't hit before, and it just makes that much of a difference.
Hmm. I love that. I love that your husband kind of, after watching and doing things together, saw that there was this day that you always kind of put you in a funk, and how can we put a different spin on it? Like, here's
Mhm.
the purpose, here's the goal, or hey, like, let's crush it. Let's see how much you can do, like making it a little bit more interesting or something like that to kind of change it up a
Right.
little bit. So that's awesome. Okay. So when you talk about, like, at your point in this journey with you guys, like what about because obviously working out together, that's kind of, something that we love to encourage, obviously, if it makes sense for someone's specific fitness goals and stuff. So is that where you guys started, was the gym first and then nutrition, or which kind of, it was all together at once?
It was definitely the gym first. We still have our days. We're
Mhm.
still, we still have those days where we're just done and we put in an order to Uber Eats and get some nachos and a burrito and go to bed.
Mhm.
But the next day, we're up, we're doing the same thing. We work harder that day to burn off what we ate, and we're being conscious of it that way. So it definitely started out with the gym first. And then we started to see progress, like little bits of progress. And we're like, okay, well, this is kind of where we're plateauing right now. So now what do we do? So
Mhm.
now we're getting into the nutrition. I had reached out to you that day about learning more about macros, which
Mhm.
made so much, it gets a little intimidating when you have all that math going on and you're counting all those numbers and you're trying to get all the things together. And it just made it that much more simple.
Awesome. That's
Mhm.
such great feedback. Another thing that you talked about too in this, there's the patience aspect of it. There's the figuring out what to do. There's figuring out how to adjust. Like you said, you got the routine down and working out, that built the momentum. Then you pivoted to the nutrition portion because you're like, okay, I'm ready to take on some different approach there.
Mhm.
So during this journey, talk about the comparison game, how easy that is to kind of get stuck in and maybe hold you back a little bit.
So, and everybody does it. It's just one of those things like, I wish I could look like her. I wish I could look
Mhm.
like him. Those kinds of things. And um, there's always going to be someone in the gym doing the same thing. So when I'm looking at one of the girls that are like way advanced, and you can just see every muscle move when she's moving those weights. To me, I'm like, when I grow up, I want to be like her, right? Um, but at the same time, we're, like I said, 6 months in, and it may not be that long, but, we've made some progress. But uh, there's always someone else looking at you being like, one of these days, I'm gonna be like her when I grow up. So it's
Mhm.
one of those things like you want to, yes, you want to reach, use it as motivation to get to
Mhm.
that point,
Yep.
but you want to do it well because someone's looking at you the same way you're looking at that person. So
Ooh.
instead of comparing yourself,
Mhm.
just use it as motivation and um, do it well so that when other people are looking at you being like, I want to be like that, you're showing them that, that smile, like no judgment, kind of like, hey, you're doing a great job. I walk by and I smile at every girl. I don't care what they look like. To me, everybody's
Mm.
different, everybody's beautiful, but
Yep.
you get, you do get some of those people that are in there and they're like, ugh, right. Ugh. And it's just life, right? You get that anywhere.
Yeah.
But that one person that smiles and like, hey, you did a good job. Like, hey, lift it, like, get it, girl, right? And then boom, now they have a whole nother mindset, right? Like now they're going to be like, yeah, now I'm going to do it. So the whole comparing yourself with other people are doing the same thing with you. So just, it's a big circle.
Yeah, I love how you're talking about because it is easy for us females in particular to get jealous, and it doesn't mean that guys don't get jealous either. It
Right.
goes both ways. But the fact that you are pushing yourself to be like, I don't care if I would maybe look at her and be jealous. I'm just going to celebrate her and cheer her on, because she could be having a bad day, be self-conscious. I mean, and that kind of bleeds into how encouraging others actually helps you in the long run too. I think as we were talking before we got on this call, like I went into coaching because holding people accountable was something that also helped me hold myself accountable. Because I was like, if I've got people looking up to me, then I'm going to be transparent about my struggles. I'm going to make sure that I'm also following through and preaching what I practice and doing what I say. And I'm never going to suggest anything that I wouldn't do. So have you found yourself also pushing yourself to cheer on other people, maybe in your family and friends, or other people that maybe are kind of delaying and getting on the health journey themselves?
I don't really like to push everybody. That's one of the things, is that you really can't push people in the right direction. They can say all the things that, bad about themselves. And me, that's more of a mindset thing, right? So instead of getting into like, oh, well, then just go work out, or maybe try eating better or anything like that, that could have reverse effects where they're just like, oh, well, now, what else am I doing wrong? But instead, just being like, hey, you're a beautiful person. So you can, you can accept the way that you look, because I do. I think you're great. I think you're perfect the way you are. Obviously we can all do better in our lives and try harder a little, on some things. And that's the kind of way like I motivate family members and friends and stuff, because it's going to be on their own time. We can all talk all the things about how we hate the way we look and all the stuff like that. But until you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you hit that moment where you're just like, I gotta do something, it's not going to happen. Like you gotta hit that moment. And it's one of those aha, like, I can't do this anymore, and just be so frustrated. You have to hit that rock bottom, right? I don't like the way that I look. Not that there's anything wrong with me, but it isn't where I feel comfortable at. I'm not comfortable in my body. I am eating unhealthy, and I want to do better. And for me, it's more of a future thing. And don't get me wrong, like I love heavy lifting. Like that's kind of where it took me. Everybody kind of goes in there wanting to get skinny, same thing with me. I went in there wanting to get skinny, and then I lifted that extra weight. And then I saw my biceps start to develop. And then I noticed my body was walking different. And I started building like a confidence, like I'm kind of a badass, right? Like I can do this.
Yes.
Right?
Focusing on the strength as opposed to just the aesthetic skinny, like you said.
Right. And so now I'm going in there and I'm like, right, flexing it and trying to like look good. And, because to me, the muscle is beautiful. Right. And just, I totally forgot where we were going with this.
No, I think actually what's cool is that you are leading into, because you're talking about patience, you're talking about encouraging others, you're talking about not forcing anyone into anything, but you had a period of time where your husband was hoping for something and it was taking you a little while to jump on it. So I would be like, that's where I would be like, that actually flowed in perfectly, because I'm like, tell us about like, now you guys are 6 months in, but it took a little while to get you started.
It did take me a long while to get started. So he's been ready. He's been ready. He kind of grew up with a gym in his life. So we just kind of, the fat and happy part of our lives where we just kind of let things go and get away from us. But he's always had that in his life. And so he was ready to get in the gym. And like we had talked about, men also feel the self-conscious and they want to look a certain way and they want to, so, and as women and as, wives and things like that, like we got to understand that and be supportive of that and be sensitive to that too.
Mhm.
But he waited for me. I was a gym goer to just, you know, get skinny, and I would do the light weights. And, if it didn't feel good to me, I quit, like I'd stop. So it
Mm,
was just very on the surface.
yeah.
And I got to that point, and I want to say it was like a year that he waited for me to just be ready. And he would mention it and he would try to eat better and he would actually start to do a little bit of the things for himself. But my bad habits got him back into his bad habits. And it was just one of those things. And so he just kind of waited it out a little bit. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm ready. Like, we got to go. And then for me, it was just shut up and get your butt in there and just do it, because
Mhm.
I'm never going to get into the habit of doing it if I just don't start right now. Like, I gotta
Yes.
go.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. So what about like as far as learning from each other, that kind of bleeds into that also, that like what have you guys learned from each other by doing this together?
Well, one is going to be our tolerances for different things.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our limits, when to push each other, when to be like, "Oh, okay, well, I know you can do it, but we need to build up to it." Um, Obviously we want to tell each other like, hey, don't hurt yourself, and then make it come off very rude, right? We
Right.
still want to lift each other up and like push each other. Even just yesterday, I tried to go up on my deadlifts. I tried to hit 205.
Wow.
It was not happening.
Okay. Okay.
it was it was not happening.
Yep.
Um, and instead of being like, oh well, you just didn't try hard enough, or and because that may seem like, oh, I know you can do it, but I don't think you tried hard enough. Kind of makes you feel a little, oh well, what did I do wrong?
Mhm.
But it was more of a, you know what, you're gonna get it next time. Or next time we'll just add 5 more pounds. Or next time we're gonna add 10 more pounds. And so learning to build each other up in the way that we need to build each other up,
Yes.
learning those things are super important. So
Mhm.
you also not only have to learn about your own body and where your limits are, but you also want to learn about your spouse's body and where their limits are. Push them when you know that they can get it,
Mhm.
or just be like, okay, well, um, give it a shot. And then next time, if you can't get it up, you're going to get it next time, and just
Mhm.
push each other a little bit that way. So there's just so many ways, and everybody's going to be different. So you just got to learn
Mhm.
what your partner needs.
Yeah. I love that aspect of it because obviously couples is something that we hone in on. So for the singles, like because we've got friends who are not in relationships, or maybe they're in a relationship where somebody, is not necessarily on the same page as you guys, obviously it took you a little while too.
Mhm.
So, what do you think having, if you're single and don't have a partner, maybe doing this with a friend would make it a little bit easier, like trying to find a friend that would be willing to do things with you?
It's always helpful to have someone there, especially safety wise. So you
Yeah.
want to be safe about it. So it's always helpful to have someone there with you anyway. But don't be afraid to talk to people in the gym,
Mm,
and that goes back to motivation.
mhm,
When if you can just be, hey, great job, or even ask like, hey, how did you learn that one, or how, what does your stance change about it, or
mhm.
things like that. It opens up different relationships. Like, other people aren't going to be afraid to talk to you. You'll see that person again. You won't be afraid to ask them for a spotter. Um, and then once you get a little more comfortable in your own gym, because you're going to see the same people in there all the time,
True.
right? So you're going to see the
Yep.
same people in there all the time. And some people will come and ask me, hey, can you just help me get this up? And it just kind of makes things a little better, when you feel like you're in this uh, community, right? And it is. And everybody goes in there to kind of like fight them demons and, you know, work through some things or whatever it is, but I can almost guarantee you about 90% of those people would be more than happy to help you.
I think many people underestimate how friendly gyms are. And I know that there's a lot of anxiety around it that can, when you first start getting comfortable, but you bring up a good point that if you show up usually about the same time every day, you're probably going to see the same people. People are actually pretty approachable. It's rare that you're going to come across somebody who's a jerk, because most
Mhm.
people, I truly believe, that take care of their health and fitness are usually kind people, because of the fact that, now this could be different for people on steroids, but for people, ultimately, when you're taking care of yourself, you are in a better mood. You do have endorphins that are running through your body that make you feel better, that bring you out of a funk. So
Mhm.
why wouldn't you help your neighbor really quick with a lift or getting rid of weights, helping with the weight setup or something like that? So I think that's a great encouragement and a reminder that, hey, if you have to go to a gym, if the gym is the best way for you to get these effective workouts in,
Mhm.
because you don't have all the equipment at home, don't be scared. Most people are super friendly. The staff members should be friendly. And if there are a bunch of jerks there, then you just need to find a different gym. It's not the right gym for you then, because there are, thankfully, some other options out there for most people, depending
Right.
on where they live.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it just, and you also have to keep in mind too, it does seem very intimidating, especially while people are working out. I mean, I know how I look when I'm pushing weight. It's not nice. It's
Yeah,
not pretty.
no, none of us look
Okay.
good. Your
It's not,
belly's pushed out, your face is right,
yeah, you got the
like.
weird thing going with your eye, right? Because you're really trying to get that last one in. Everybody's like that. So it might seem a little weird and like seem a little intimidating, like, oh, like they're serious or they're in a bad mood. No, it's just my workout face.
Yeah, no, it's just like, it's not resting bitch face. It's just
No.
resting lifting weight face. Right. I love that. I love that this conversation led a little bit into gym etiquette, or just the gym, being confident in the gym, because I think what's cool about your story is that you guys started with something that you knew you could implement, and then you've built off of that, like bit by bit by bit. And that's what we have to do in this process. We have to educate ourselves, learn the roadmap for what are the results you're trying to accomplish. And I think what's also very powerful in your story is that you went to a strong focus and not just a skinny focus, because you understand the value of building muscle for longevity, to be able to wipe your own booty when you're like 75, like, or 84, or whatever age that feels old to people, because as we get older, we don't feel like it's very old.
Right.
Sometimes we feel like it, but yeah, but ultimately you are looking at the long term, which I think you've gotten to that point too, where you know that it never stops, right? Like it doesn't stop.
Ever, ever.
So you
It's
have to figure out what's sustainable for you
mhm,
long term, and it's going to give you results, but never stop,
right. It's
right?
it's a lifestyle thing, you know.
Mhm.
I it you could go in there and say all day, oh yeah, I work out, but until you actually get in there and work out and it starts to change the chemical layout of your brain,
Mhm.
okay, it's a full on lifestyle. I never thought that I would be one of those people that are like, oh my God, I miss the gym. Like,
Mhm.
and then have this guilt that sets over me. But I'm not. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what day is it? Oh, it's shoulder day, right? It's not
Mhm.
Wednesday anymore. It's shoulder day. It's
That's how you know the day of the week.
yeah. So,
I love that.
uh, but yeah, it becomes a lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle that I'm proud to have, right?
Mm.
I have worked so hard in our lives, just like everybody else does. And you do get a sense of community when you start to be around more people that have the same outlook on things or same goal that you do.
Mhm.
And you surround yourself with more of that stuff. And you feel like it starts to become more like, yeah, this is the right path for me. And it brings so much peace. Like
Mm.
when you can go and like kill a good workout and then you ate right that day, like it's just such a weight lifted off the shoulders. Like, okay, like this
Mhm.
is this is the way it's gonna be.
Yeah,
And you're gonna get the people that are gonna be like, how do you even do it? Why do you work out so much? And it's just noise at that
Mhm.
point. And it
Mm.
will once you start to get into the the lifestyle of it, and you're thinking about it, and you're breathing it, and you're sleeping it, and all that stuff, which when you get in there, it'll come, trust me. You may not ever think that you're going to be that person. It'll come. Once you start to see the results, once you start to see the muscle grow, or the weight drop off, or your pants get bigger or get tighter because your legs got bigger, right? Like there's so many different aspects of it. Like you're gonna become that lifestyle. And it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
I love that. And I think it's important for us. And I always say that I hate this word, but it's never like, there's never like a better word, but it's like normalizing a healthy lifestyle. It's so crazy that when you eat healthy or exercise, that there can be so much judgment. But, you know, like we've alluded to, that's really something on the inside. It's no different than you trying to abstain from alcohol and someone being like, why don't you just drink? It's not a big deal. Just have one.
Right.
It's like, because I'm not having that right now. And I don't have to explain myself to you. Like,
Exactly.
I shouldn't have to, you know, why do we have to deal with peer pressure in our 40s or older or whatever? It's
But
like,
it's bad in our 40s, right? Like you would think that, I guess high school never ends for some people, but you're
So true.
100% right. It's good to normalize the healthy things in your life. And you don't even have to start, you don't even have to go gung ho. You can literally start small. If you go for a walk, or you know, went from a large fry to a small fry, you know, just start somewhere, and it's a start. Every day that you do something, it's better than yesterday. And every time that you do something to help yourself, you're better than yesterday. So it's always working to be better than yesterday. I mean, and you don't even have to be like all the crazy, like only eat, you know, be a vegetarian, and if you know anything about the gym, you would never be a vegetarian, like, or you could, but protein is so important, right?
Yes. Yes, the protein is so hard.
But you don't have to, you know, there's so many variations of being healthy, and it can be from a little bit to a lot of it. And anything that you do is better than yesterday.
Exactly. I love that. Well, as we wrap it up, I mean, you again dropped some great nuggets, and that's encouragement to really ultimately that any kind of baby step you can build upon, pick one thing, focus on one thing, then pick another thing. We are huge advocates for that. So if you were to just give any last thoughts or encouragement to the group here, you know, what would that be as we wrap it up?
Don't care what everybody says. This is your life. It's your life. The more you get into it, the less you'll care about what other people say. To me, is such a huge mindset. I could care less what anybody has to say. And I'm talking including family. I don't care. This is my life. Nobody pays my bills. Nobody does anything for me. I've built this life, and it's your life, and you need to do what you have to do in order to make it the way you need it to be comfortable, to be happy with yourself, to be healthy in your brain, healthy in your body. So whatever noise that everybody else has to make, it's not on the same wavelength as you. Listen to what your heart says, your gut says, and do what you need to do to make yourself happy.
I love that. And that's what's great too about getting older. Sometimes that gets easier as you get older. So for anyone who's struggling with that, usually it can get easier. But I love how you left with that it's like, this is your life. This is your opportunity. It's your choice. You get to make the best of it. You get to control what you can control. And those are your choices. So thank you so much for all these positive nuggets. I'm so glad to have this recorded.
No, thanks for having me, for sure.
Of course. You stay right there. Don't get anywhere. But basically, we're wrapping it up today. Thank you so much, Brenda, for jumping in and doing this interview. I had lots of great nuggets. Lastly, I just want to throw out there that if anyone is looking to join our free 7-day experience, it starts on Sunday. We will have workouts in there, by the way, that'll be like gym workouts, and lots of good nutrition videos, mindset videos, a lot of things that we just actually touched on today too, which is pretty cool. So if that's an interest to you, let me know. I'm going to stop this recording though and check in back on the Facebook Live. So thank you so much for watching, and appreciate y'all.